11 places that had multicultural societies in ancient Mexico and Central America. The Anawak. Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan was a huge imperial capital located in today's Estado de Mexico, Mexico. The extent of this realm reached the jungles of Central America, the hills of Jalisco, and the northern regions. This cosmopolitan city saw many ethnicities trading and even living together, to the extent that Teotihuacan had a Zapotec district, sort of like a little Oaxaca. Mayan elites lived in Teotihuacan as well. Even the actual people of Teotihuacan, the everyday Teotihuacano, was a mix of Ñañú Otomi people and Huasteca Totonaca people. Or in other words, the modern-day Ñañú and modern-day Totonaca are descendants of the Teotihuacanos. The Chichimek Empire. Established by King Xolotl Amaqui, he and the following rulers established laws and rules for immigrants who wanted to settle within the Chichimek domain. These strict rules were enforced to have stability and social cohesion. For instance, amongst the many laws, one law established Nahuatl as the language to be spoken by everyone. Another law was that immigrants had to live by the Toltec way of life, which were the political predecessors of the Chichimecs. Also, this ensured respect and cohesion with the Toltec inhabitants who were already living there when the Chichimecs arrived. Tikal. After Teotihuacan conquered Tikal, the city began to grow as a multicultural society. There was a heavy influx of Teotihuacano elites and traders into the city. The curious thing was that these Teotihuacanos were not only eager to marry Mayan people, but they quickly assimilated into Mayan culture. The Mayas, the native inhabitants of Tikal, took the best of Teotihuacan culture and Mayanized it, like the Star Wars military tradition or artistic imagery. La Quemada, a gargantuan import-export trading hub in the middle of the desert of northern Mexico. The movement of traders going north to south and vice versa made this a society where people from different ethnicities lived and worked together. The Texas Hill Country. Up north of San Antonio, Texas, is a region that served as a trading hub to all tribes from Texas, Tamaulipas, and Nuevo León. Seasonally, traders would meet at Texas Hill Country. It was a multicultural society where differences and prejudices were put aside. This also let them learn about faraway tribes and their customs. Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza witnessed the influx of Toltec and other Central Mexican peoples who arrived as the Toltec Empire fell in Tula. The city of Chichen Itza was born from the mix of all these refugees and local Mayans. The city and its multiculturalism gained so much fame that it attracted travelers from afar, like famed Mixtec king Nacua. The mixture of Mayan and Toltec culture created a unique flavor and beauty, shown in its elegant yet brutalist architecture, with movement yet stoic, showing grace but also might, thus giving to the people of the future, to us, one of the seven wonders of the modern world. Copan. As Teotihuacan spread its might through our old world, Copan also saw the influx of Teotihuacanos, but also the arrival from Mayans coming from Tikal. Copan also took advantage of having a multicultural society to house an artistic society. unique artworks were commissioned in Copan. Politically, Copan was ruled by King Quinish-Yaxcucmo and all of his descendants. Although being originally born in Tikal from ethnic Teotihuacanos from the Estado de Mexico, Quinish-Yaxcucmo behaved, acted, and ruled as if he was a Mayan. This respect of Mayan culture made Quinish-Yaxcucmo to launch a huge project of written records with Mayan glyphs. Nowhere in the world do we see the conquerors being culturally conquered by their people. Hence, Quinish-Yaxcucmo never imposed anything non-Mayan into their subjects. Well, he only retained his goggle-like mask from central Mexico to remind himself of his origin. Eltahin. This impressive city was no stranger to a multicultural society. The cultural presence of the Maya is felt in its art and numeral glyphs. It is perhaps the northernmost part where we can see tangible presence of Maya people. Just a state of separation with modern-day United States. And again, the result was artistic beauty in the city, the mixture of Totonaca and Maya art. La Huasteca. During the reign of the Mexica Aztec Emperor Moctezuma I, a climate change phenomenon that struck in the form of heavy snowfall for several years gave way to famine and economic destabilization. Emperor Moctezuma had no choice but to send most of the inhabitants of Tenochtitlan, his capital, to the Huastec region in a temporary indentured servant program. Under this treaty, people would basically work for free until either a payment of loan was reached or paid in full with work. These Mexica Aztecs, as temporary migrants, lived amongst the Huasteca people. Both ethnicities lived together, and it is documented that many ultimately decided to stay and reside there instead of returning to the Mexica Aztec capital, even after the snow had subsided. And who can blame them with such green and fertile land? The Zitácuaro region. This region of eastern Michoacán state, western Estado de Mexico, and southern Guanajuato was a multicultural region where several ethnicities lived together: the Mazahua, the Otomí, and the Purépecha, plus the nearby Matlatzinca and Chichimek, who were in constant contact, and many of them also lived in this region. In this multicultural society, each ethnic group kept their own language and even customs. At one point, most of the region was conquered by the Purépecha Triple Alliance Empire. Still, each ethnic group retained their own identity. This solidified their multicultural community against outside aggression. For instance, when the Mexica Aztecs attempted to blitz across the region to conquer the Purépecha Empire, they faced fierce opposition and were swiftly repelled by the inhabitants of this special region. Tututepec. This is another case where the inhabitants of a region were happy with imperial imposition because of the benefits they saw from a multicultural society. Tututepec, a coastal kingdom in today's Oaxaca state, was annexed to the realm of Mixtec king Anahuac. The local inhabitants of Tututepec saw the influx of mountain and valley Mixtec people, and yet they saw it as something good, for they were now part of a greater state for the trading, commercial, and economic advantages which opened significantly for the city of Tututepec.